Joshua to walk us through the final moments of the countdown. Guys?
Yeah, thanks, Megan. The SpaceX team is working no significant issues right now. We're continuing to monitor weather, although it is trending more and more towards green as we march towards T0. The range is also standing by to support. At this point, RP1 fuel is completely loaded on both stages. Liquid oxygen loading is currently underway and should complete around the T-2 minute mark. We're also loading helium gas into both stages. Falcon 9 uses helium as a pressurant to backfill the propellant tanks, as LOX and RP1 are consumed by the Merlin engines during ascent. Helium load began before the broadcast went live, and we'll continue to top that off as well until about a minute and a half before launch.
Andy mentioned that liquid oxygen being loaded. It's super chilled liquid oxygen, and to make sure the engine startup goes well, they perform engine chill. This began at T-7 minutes, and a small amount of that LOX is flowed through the Merlin engine's turbo pumps to avoid thermal shock to that system, to allow the full flow of super chilled liquid oxygen when the clock strikes 0. Dragon also began its startup sequence at T-35 minutes when it coordinated timing with Falcon 9. It's currently undergoing vehicle health checks, with the next big step happening just a moment ago when Dragon transitioned to internal power.
What we're seeing on screen right now, the clamp arms just underneath the Dragon have begin to open up, and they should be completing fully open right now. And the strong back, which is the truss structure right next to Falcon 9, is beginning to recline away to its pre-launch position, about 2 degrees away from the vehicle. It will continue to recline all the way back as we reach T0 to provide clearance for the vehicle to lift off.
Stage 1 LOX load complete.
In these last few minutes, Falcon 9 is performing final health checks on its primary communications, avionics, and propulsion systems in preparation for flight. We also may hear callouts that the engines are sufficiently chilled as we get closer to liftoff.
The checkouts of the second stage thrust vector control actuators should begin right about T-2 minutes 30 seconds. That's referred to as the engine wiggle test, a fairly self-explanatory name. This is where SpaceX will move the thrust nozzles slightly to make sure the guidance hardware
is
go for flight. SpaceX will do the exact same checkouts on the first stage engines just seconds before ignition. This is all still on track, weather being go now for liftoff scheduled for 5:07:08 Eastern Time this morning, as we track towards the space station with rendezvous and docking scheduled for tomorrow morning. Space station now tracking over Central Europe, and we'll be there with this mission for about a month.
So at this point, we are wrapping up liquid oxygen loading. Once that is done, that is all of the propellant that will be loading onto the vehicles. And that is the call out right there. So all propellants are loaded onto the vehicle.
Dragon is an auto idle.
We're starting to have some white clouds building around the vehicle. That is condensed liquid oxygen. As that super chilled liquid oxygen reaches the warmer ambient air temperatures of Florida, it'll start to form those clouds. Normal and expected for us at this stage in the countdown.
Ground gas
things continue to go smoothly as we march towards T0.
At T-1 minutes, we'll get the Dragon transitioned to internal power call. The Falcon 9 computers will enter startup mode and begin final pre-launch checks, guiding the rocket through the last seconds before liftoff.
Falcon 9's in startup. Dragon is in countdown.
So there are a couple great callouts. Both stages are now pressurizing for launch. Range remains go. The weather did clear earlier and has remained green. So all
Falcon 9, CRS-24, go for launch.
That's the launch director calling go for launch. We'll get an all systems go here in just a few seconds, and then we'll listen into the rest of the count.
T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 15 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition.
Liftoff. Cargo Dragon soars with the final supply run in 2021 for the astronauts aboard the International Space Station.
Downrange.
Stage 1 chamber pressure is nominal.
Plus 40 seconds into flight, Falcon 9 and Dragon have cleared the tower. You can see him passing through the cloud layers right now. Next up, in just a few seconds here, is max Q. This is where the vehicle will experience the highest amount of aerodynamic pressures.
Falcon 9 is supersonic. Max Q.
And there's the call out for max Q. Through that period of high pressure on the vehicle, the engines on the first stage are now throttling back up as we continue to make our journey to orbit. Coming up in about a minute are 3 events in rapid succession. First up is main engine cutoff, also known as MECO,
Engine chill has
followed by
started.
stage separation, and then second engine start, also known as SES1. Main engine cutoff is where all 9 engines on the first stage will shut off in preparation for the second event, stage separation. During stage separation, the first and second stages will separate from one another. The first stage makes its way back to the drone ship for a landing attempt, and the second stage will ignite its Merlin vacuum engine and continue to boost Dragon to low Earth orbit. Again, those are going to be happening in rapid succession in about 15 seconds here.
MECO.
Stage separation confirmed.
INVAC ignition.
You heard the callouts. We see it on screen. Successful main engine cutoff, followed by successful stage separation, and then ignition of our Merlin vacuum engine. On the left-hand side of the screen, the first stage, again, it's making its way back to Earth, but it's still being illuminated by the second stage Merlin vacuum engine there. So if you are just joining us, you're watching a live webcast for the 24th commercial resupply mission to the International Space Station for NASA. This is SpaceX's 31st mission for 2021 and the 5th Dragon flight to the International Space Station this year. A couple of views on screen. The right-hand side of the screen is a view of the Merlin vacuum engine on the second stage. The Dragon capsule carrying all of the wonderful holiday treats and science is on the opposite end of that engine. Again, that is continuing to run smoothly as it makes its way to orbit. On the left-hand side of the screen is the first stage. You'll notice some honeycomb-like structures. There's 2 of them on screen right now. Those are our hypersonic grid fins. They're positioned at the top of the first stage booster. There are 4 of them, actually. And those will start to swivel and move around to make sure that they are guiding the first stage back to its targeted landing zone. For today's mission, it's going to be the drone ship Just Read the Instruction, which is parked in the Atlantic Ocean. Next event for our mission today is going to be the first stage entry burn. It's going to be the first of 2 burns. In order to make its way back to our drone ship, the first stage has to execute these 2 burns. The first, again, is the entry burn where 3 of our Merlin engines will reignite. This helps to slow the stage down as it re-enters the upper parts of the Earth's atmosphere. The second burn is the landing burn. This happens about a minute later. This is a single engine burn that will bring the vehicle speed down rapidly in order to land on the drone ship. So again, the first stage has 2 burns before it can make its first landing attempt on our drone ship. As we wait for that event, you might be interested to know that in order to get into space, the rocket actually has to do more than go up. It actually has to go sideways really, really fast. At liftoff, gravity is pulling straight down on the rocket. And as we ascend, we tilt the engines, a term called gimbaling, and that turns the rocket horizontally. So we're still going up, but we're also heading horizontally away from the launch pad in what we call a gravity turn.
Stage 1 FTS is safe.
Things continue to go smoothly for both the first and second stages. Again, the first stage entry burn
follow nominal trajectory.
should start in about 10 seconds.
Stage 1 entry burn is in startup.
And there it is. 3 Merlin engines have reignited their engines and are now currently slowing down the first stage. This burn is expected to last about 30 seconds. And you can see the velocity on the bottom left-hand side of the screen. We're starting to decrease significantly.
Stage 1 entry burn shut down.
So great news. That is burn 1 of 2 complete. The Falcon 9 first stage is also equipped with 4 landing legs made of state-of-the-art carbon fiber with aluminum honeycomb. They're placed around the base of the rocket and deployed just prior to landing. So we are about 60 seconds away from landing the vehicle, and we're traveling a significant velocity right now, and this really puts into perspective the deceleration that the first stage will experience. In less than the span of a minute, we'll reduce from twice the speed of a jet all the way down to 0 as the rocket lands.
Stage 1 is transonic.
The first stage landing burn is expected to start here in about 20 seconds. And last for about 25 seconds. So during the duration of that burn, we are going to be listening for the call out for SECO, which stands for second engine cutoff. The Merlin vacuum engine that you see on screen, we're going to be shutting off that engine and then listening for another call out for a confirmation of good orbit,
Stage
where
1
the second
landing burn.
stage will coast for a few minutes before separating Dragon.
Stage 2 FTS is
We don't
safe.
have views of the first stage right now. Looks like we got it back. And the landing burn
Stage 1
is
landing
currently
leg deploy.
underway.
Invac shutdown.
Stage 1 landing is confirmed.
So hopefully we get some visuals. There it is. So this is the
Nominal
first
orbit
landing for this particular booster, but the 100th successful landing for an orbital class rocket. What a way to end off the year. We also heard that the second stage engine, the Merlin vacuum engine, successfully shut off its engine. And we're going to pause here to see if we can confirm a good orbit of the second stage.
Expected loss of signal, cable acquisition signal.
There are no seats, there are no life support systems. This saves weight. It also frees up some space for more cargo, and it also allows us to refurbish the Dragon a little bit quicker once it splashes back down to Earth in about a month.
Expected loss of signal, Bermuda.
So We are
Stage
expecting
separation
Dragon to
confirmed.
separate any
Or
second
Dragon
now.
separation.
And there it goes. Again, this camera view is on the second stage, looking at the Dragon's unpressurized cargo section. The Dragon has about a day before it makes its way to the International Space Station and docks. Coming up is nose cone opening sequence. But that is going to do it for me here in Hawthorne. I'm going to hand it over to Shaniqua in Houston for the next mission milestones.
Thanks, Andy. And everything is still good here in Mission Control.